Okay, so let's tie this all in now, because you're working with some of the most sophisticated, complex teams in the financial services space. You've talked to me a lot about this alignment model. So I'm going to assume that a big part of the glue of that on the behavioral side is your expertise around DISC. So I'm curious. Explain what it means to be a DISC practitioner. Explain to us how that gets applied, and talk to us about the impact that has on culture, especially. And I might not be onto something here, or maybe I am. The dynamic around the female male dynamic in a growing team. Can you run with that?
Sure. So, I mean, the behavioral profiling is, in my mind, absolutely vital to, to making sure that there's a full kind of understanding around, various team members. And I'm not sure if it's necessarily even male, female, but I guess probably like often lead advisors are very driven, right? Very fast paced. They make decisions fast. They think fast, and that's which is wonderful. It gets them to where they are in the current situation. But often people on supporting roles, especially newer people, young people, and they do often tend to be women, is they're not kind of built the same way, which is great, right? Because we need people to be detail oriented and a very much process driven and things like that. But there can be a disconnect, right? There can often be intimidation factor almost. And I've told advisors before, it's like, that you're bowling over your team, right? And they're just like, what? It's not intentional, right? However, when you really get to understand like what it is about your characteristics, your behavioral style, your how you act normally, which is it's not a good or a bad thing, it just is. But really understanding it and how it can impact and connect with others can make such a huge difference.
Yeah.
And often I'll do I'll do the behavioral profiling, and then I'll interview it, or kind of do a bit of a debrief, help people understand what they're seeing on their profiles. And I more than once, more than probably 10 times, I've had the comment about, well, I can't really talk to them about this. And I'd be like, well, how come? And the answer is almost always a matter of being some version of being intimidated. It's just like, okay, what if how about if you approached it like this? It's like, could I do that? Yeah, okay. So I'm talking on the one side, it's like, hey, you just need to stand up and talk to this person. And then I'm talking to the other side saying, hey, like you really need to lighten up or ease off a little bit when you're talking to this team member. Like it's so powerful. The understanding, like when people can really understand the styles of the people they're working with, they can adjust their own communication style. And it can also adjust their mindset, right? It might go from like a very fast-paced driven person might come across as being, I don't know, to somebody that's like a little bit more slow-paced and detail-oriented. They might look at them and go, like not a really nice person. Like, look at how aggressive they are. And once they realize it, it's like, oh wow, they're very driven, and it takes a lot to get to to where they're at. New appreciation for the styles, and that's only one part of what we do on the profiling, right? There's the behavior. There's how we behave, visible styles. Usually, to a certain point, a person can be profiled just based on how they act, right? Over time, you just kind of figure out how to, where you can possibly place them. But the other side of things that we do in our profiling is motivators or drivers, right? So it's not just how people act, but why. And that can be so incredibly powerful as a manager, as a team leader, like truly understanding what it is that drives your people. And quick answer here, it's not always money. Shocker. Right? And that's something that can really make a big difference. I'm thinking of a team one time. We had KPIs set up, like key performance indicators, and we had like the kind of the required and then the stretch goals, right? This team was very determined to have one team member really aim for these stretch goals. And it was, so this person wasn't doing it. Just like that, she was doing all the regular KPIs. She was hitting all the required targets, but these stretch goals, they were just like, they really wanted her to get involved. So they, kind of upped, they gave a financial monetary compensation for hitting these goals. Nothing happened. And then they're looking at it, well, maybe it's just not enough. They upped it. And so there was like a higher compensation for hitting these goals. She wasn't doing it. And they could not figure it out. We went through the behavioral profiling. Like I came in at like right about at that point, and like money was like the last thing that really drove this woman. And it's not that she didn't appreciate money, right? However, that's not what got her going. And so we figured out what it was that really motivated her, added that to the incentive structure. And next thing you know, she's hitting all of these stretch goals.